Welcome everyone to Mets Baseball Recap and Rant. This is a 2-for-1 episode, guys. Hope you enjoy it. This is a Mets recap for July 7th, 2021. We're going to get to a rant for Game 2. But we're talking Game 1, and you know what? Game 1 has some things that I was annoyed at. But let's talk about the good. DeGrom, 7 innings, 4 hits. He did give up 2 runs. He gave up a leadoff home run. And then later in the game, he would give up another solo shot in the 5th inning. So he gave up 2 runs. He had 10 strikeouts, and he became the second fastest in 198 games to get 1,500 career strikeouts. But Yu Darvish only beat him by 1 game. But it happens. It happens. But let's talk about the offense. The Mets offense was just dead for the most part. The Mets did tie the game in the first inning thanks to a bloop base hit off Lindor's bat. It fell in, and Nimmo read that ball perfectly and just went all the way home. So good job on Nimmo and good job on Lindor making contact. And that's a big thing for later this day. The Mets will end up tying this game in the 7th inning off Hader, who entered this game 20 for 20. I had a bad feeling he was going to blow this, and he blew it. He gave up a home run to Peraza, and then we're going to now we're going to start the rant part of this, because I want to address the first thing. For the very beginning of the season, have said I'm not a fan of Luis Rojas, and I will never be a fan of Luis Rojas, because day in and day out, he continues to show me that he is incompetent as a manager. And I know people here have defended him, saying, how could you say these things? The Mets are in first place. Look how the Mets are in first place. The Mets are in first place barely by winning games. And yes, they deserve it. They beat the best teams they can. And they win. But they're not winning in convincing fashions. They're not winning, when the ball game is being given to them. We'll talk about Game 2 because the Mets had opportunity in Game 2 to take that game. But unfortunately, they failed. But here's where I want to address that he overmanages. In the bottom of the 7th inning, he pinch hits for Nido with Pilar. Now, I'm not sure of the numbers. There was no numbers given, so I can't tell you. I don't have the numbers off me. But Nido was 1 for 2, and you take him out for Pilar, who struck out. Now you can't see the future. Well, you can't know for a fact that Pilar was going to strike out. And this is very true. However, I do know that you do hurt your players' confidence when you pull them out. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're pulling on Nido to put someone else is gonna not produce. At least if he produces, you can understand it. But it hurts. It hurts. And trust me, I once played a baseball game for an adult baseball league. I went 1 for 2, and then I got pulled out of the game for a pinch hitter at the end of the game, and then we lost. I know. And my cousin was there, and he was like, you don't bat? I'm like, no, they took me out of the game. He said, but you're one of the only people that have a hit. I'm like, yeah, they're dumb. This is dumb. But, it worked out. The Mets end up winning this in extra innings. But then here comes my next annoying part. You bring in Edwin Diaz. And I don't know how many times it has to be said, Diaz does not pitch well when it's not a safe situation. And I get it. I've had this argument with my cousins about how Edwin Diaz should be able to pitch. He's paid to pitch. That's a bullshit excuse. But guess what? It is what it is. It clearly is. He does not pitch well. And understandably, he did get 2 outs, and then he started walking everyone, and then hit the next batter to drive in the go-ahead run. So it didn't really hit the ball off him, but it's inevitable. That's what it felt like. And I don't want that to be the case, but it's so bad that, I don't see how dumb the situation is. But nonetheless, the Mets end up winning this in extra innings thanks to a couple of walks. And then McNeil hits a a wonderful game-winning single. 2 runs came in, and good on him. And I'm gonna play this clip of Gary saying, like, this was amazing. No, like he called it. He said that he never had a walk-off. He never and Lord behold, that's what happens. Now we're gonna jump to game 2. Game 2 is a different type of thing. The Mets lost 5-0. The Mets scored no runs. The Mets only had 3 hits. The Mets lineup made no sense in this game. You sit Nimmo, you sit O'Neill, and you're keeping people who are basically have not been hitting for a while. But, this is your manager. The people love Luis Rojas. He's a great man. No, he's a piece of crap manager. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue to say it. He is a bad manager. And no, he did it again today with his pinch hitting. Like, it makes no sense. If you're putting Peraza to play, let the damn man play. Now, it worked out because Nimmo worked a walk. And then McNeil worked a walk. And then Villar worked out a walk, I believe. And this is where it gets bad. Lindor caught looking, and Dominic Smith and Alonso both swang and struck out. And that's the biggest issue with the Mets right now. The Mets have poor contact. And I don't understand, how is this possible that they could not make contact with the ball? I'm not a professional. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. But I think the lineup in itself is so bad, and this is something that I keep saying that the Mets need to address, but they refuse to address. They're not doing what they need to do. As much as I want to say Alonso is the Mets cleanup hitter, he is inconsistent. He should not be the cleanup batter. Dominic Smith, it looks like he's breaking out of the weirdness that he was going through, but, he struck out as well. And then McCann is like all or nothing. Either he's going to get a big hit or strike out. Don't get me wrong, I think it's not fair for me to say they're going to strike out because each Mets batter only struck out once, for the most part. The Mets had 6 strikeouts altogether in the second game. But again, like I said, it hurts being a Met fan when you see a team that just, giving you the opportunity to come back and you just can't do it. Just can't come back. Pitching wise, stock pitch for the Mets. He gave the Mets 4 innings. He only gave up 2 runs. He pitched well. Drew Smith came in and he pitched 2 innings and gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run. It was a home run. And then the disaster that was Castro. Castro came in and gave up the big shot. He gave up more. He gave up 2 runs with that home run. At that point, the Mets were down 3-0, and now it's 5-0. So it sucks. It really, really sucks. I felt that this was a game the Mets should have, could have, needed to have in many ways. But we're in first. But that's what the mistake people keep making. Oh, we're in first. You can't feel like you're safe because we have seen the Mets collapse. We have seen the Mets fail in the past, and at any given time, the Mets could still do that, and I don't want to see that. I want to continue to say this is a great team, but unless Luis Rojas proves a miracle and shows me that he could really be a manager. My own dad was telling me, look, Luis Rojas is barely ever looking at the game. He's always looking down at some paper or something. I think he's looking at notes or the scorecard, whatever he's doing in the dugout, but he is barely ever looking at the plays. It's just what it is. And his changes make no sense. At the end of the day, they make no sense. And then I do want to address this because this goes back to game 1. He used Edwin Diaz in a non-safe situation. Now, of course, we can't tell the future, but what if in game 2 the Mets needed a closer? Diaz was not going to be available because you used him in the first game in a situation that he shouldn't have been. This is my point. So, if anyone wants to debate this with me, I'm more than welcome to open an open live mic and debate this and why someone could tell me what sense did it make. I will love to hear it. But at this point, I am going to continue on my rant and say Luis Rojas is one of the worst baseball managers in baseball today. Not the worst, because they're way worse managers and they're way worse teams. But the Mets, they're a good team. But they're lacking that killer fire from their bats. And it's been like that all year long. And they're winning because of their pitching. Great. But when you have no pitching, you're going to end up losing. Because, you can only win so many games. No. 2-0, 3-0. You need runs. You need runs. At the end of the day, you can't win games with no runs. So, we need something. We need something for this team. Now, the Mets do take on the Pirates for 7 straight games. 4 at home, 3 in the way. DeGrom also said he is not going to the All-Star game, which makes sense. I mean, if he's pitching on Sunday, it makes no sense for him to make the trip out there just for an appearance. No, don't do that. Just, rest, relax, and we'll see you when the midpoint of the season restarts again. Guys, let me know what you guys thought of today's doubleheader. Let me know why you think Luis Rojas is a good manager, because he's definitely not. And if you think he is, you're just blinded by the fact that the Mets are in first.